Most people don't have a money problem, they have a money flow problem. I'm Kyle, and I believe every single one of us should be living a very intentional life. I'm simply a guide that helps people build financial frameworks and systems around the world of banking, tough money, and generational wealth. And if you've ever asked yourself or said this statement, I wish I would have known this 20 years ago, or how did I not know about this 20 years ago, you're going to love this video. Because in this video, I'm going to break down what we call the path of money. And it was an idea around how money moves through our life in such simplicity, and it gave me such clarity and confidence around my financial world that allowed me to go out and fund all the other missions in my life. Take care of my family better, run my business more effectively, become a better giver, a better saver, a better investor, just by having money flowing through my life and understanding how that flow works. So this is the framework that you could literally teach on a napkin, and that's what I love about it. This is something I wish I would have been introduced to when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, still in elementary school, just to understand a little bit, to give me a slight edge around the world of money and how that works. And there's really two components to your money. There's what's called an income statement. That's money that's coming into your life. We would call that income. So we are all actively working, money flows into our life, that goes through an income statement. And what's ever left over after that, things that we own and control, would go on to what's called our balance sheet. So when money's flowing into our life, there's only 4 things that we can do with that. Number 1 is called spend it. So first thing we can do with money, and we all do it, is spend it. Now, depending on what percentage of your income you're spending, will kind of dictate what's able to be kept and controlled on your balance sheet. And this is why you have to fix the front part of your money, or work on the fundamentals. And if you don't, you'll never be in a position to become wealthy. That's the inconvenient truth. The second thing we can do with money is donate it. And hopefully we are donating it, or a portion of it, because that's going to be one of the most compelling and fulfilling things we can do in this life, is give to wonderful charities, causes, people that we love and support, that we have great relationships with. Giving money has been one of the most fun activities and fulfilling things that I'm able to do. We should all be donating a portion of our income. And anything left over, we would call that savings. And now savings is the first thing that gets to move to your balance sheet where you control it. We'd also call that hold it. So the third thing you can do with money after you've spent it, donate it, is save it or hold it. And that goes into what's called the foundation. We would call this a green box. And this is also called your liquidity or cash reserves. Now, how much you save, how much you hold, and where it's being held make a remarkably big difference on your wealth plan. And so you want to make sure you're saving in environments that really maximize all the benefits you deserve. And so keep that in mind as you're looking at how money is moving through your life. Now, how much money you hold here will be up to you. Everyone's got a different daily burn rate, how much money they're naturally spending. So that would change the calculation of how much do I really need to be holding to protect myself against events. And events could take many, many different forms. It could be a death, a divorce, a lawsuit, an accident, a recession, change in taxation. Events could take many, many different forms. How much money you hold will dictate how tough are you, how many events could you survive. And this is an interesting one too, because the more money you hold, that's the only way you really get to go out and do the fourth thing, which is invest it or accelerate it. So if we can't get good with saving money and holding it to then go invest, we never get to do the fourth thing, which is the investing. Now, everybody wants to go invest. That's usually the exciting thing. It's the acceleration. That's what everyone looks at. But if you don't have the proper foundation, you're probably one event from losing everything that you've been working for. So what good was being really disciplined with your money for 5, 10, or 15 years if one event goes south or an opportunity comes up that does not pan out and it wreaks havoc on every other part of your path of money? And for me personally, my investment strategy came after my foundation was already set, because that kept me really tough. My plan is to stay in the game as long as I can, and I need a really tough foundation to do that. And all 4 of these things are interconnected. They all touch each other. So if one of these things is off, that's where you're going to start feeling financial pressure. And so when it came to my investing strategy, after understanding this path of money, I realized that I could not focus on just accumulation. Investing in assets that don't produce cash flow is not part of my wealth plan, because I need money that's working for me, creating more income in my life so I can go out and fund my missions in the other areas of life spiritually, which is how much I'm donating and giving. That's part of my purpose and cause. I want to spend money on my personal health. I want to drive nice cars, live in a nice home, take care of myself. I want the same thing, if not way more, for my family. So I want to take my family on great vacations and give them wonderful opportunities in this life. And so all of that requires income. So my investment strategy requires that I buy assets that produce income that flow right back down into my income statement, into my passive money, into the balance sheet, and it just recirculates. Now, if you're watching this video and you start to understand this, like, wow, this is a very simple way to think about money, as complex of a subject as that could be, this simplifies it. And this has been remarkable for me, helping my family, a lot of our clients we work with, identifying where is the pressure coming from if we understand the path of money. Sometimes it's unpredictable income. So if we can put together a snapshot of someone's financial situation using this system and framework, we might identify that we need more income coming in. And that means we either have to go work more and make more of it, or we need investments producing more income, because having an unpredictable income is part of our financial pressure. Sometimes we go in here, we can identify the percentage that we're spending is too excessive. We're spending too much money, which means there's not enough left to go to savings, which then would flow down to investing. So that's the culprit here. Sometimes it's our reliance on credit, which would be attached to the to spend it as well. Maybe we have too much debt. Our debt to income ratio is too high, so it's eating up too much of our cash reserves. I would say one of the number one culprits for Americans feeling financial pressure and not being able to go out and invest is because they have a lack of liquidity. They do not hold enough cash reserves. And I'm convinced that's due to a few things. Lack of financial education, which brings a lack of financial awareness, and very, very inefficient storage of where we hold our wealth. So if checking accounts and savings accounts at your local bank are not giving you all the benefits you deserve, that makes it really hard to leave a bunch of money sitting in a checking or savings account where you earn, 5 cents every other month. It's just, there's better environments out there to hold and store wealth. And the last one could be retirement uncertainty. If we're worried about retirement, we may need to shift our investment strategy to focus on more income-producing assets as opposed to accumulation. I'm not a big proponent of waiting 60 years or 30 years to start enjoying life in my 60s and 70s. And so when we're talking about money, like I said in the beginning, most people don't have a money problem. They have a money flow problem. Something is off with their path of money, and that's why they feel they can't get ahead. That's why they feel like they can't wrap their head around their finances. If you understand this model, this will change everything for you going forward. Now, remember, as always, choose truth over trends, education over products, and people over profit.